What's going on? Danny Crew, it's Danny Drew here, and we are back for another day of Catan. All right, so this is a game that I played last season. I decided to play this one and not do any commentary on it. It was quite late at night, and I just wanted to kind of quietly play, enjoy the game. And I thought the game was interesting enough and fun enough to give you some post-commentary on. Let me know, do you like this format? Do you only want to see the sweaty in-game situations where I am only posting in the moment commentary? I don't mind that, obviously. Well, we've done tons of those games, but I also like these moments where I can be a little bit more self-reflective about a game that I played, kind of try to be a little bit more objective about some of the decisions I made, versus it's obviously very easy when I'm playing a game and in the moment, maybe I see the board in a specific way, but after, a little bit of time of relaxing and stepping away, maybe I might have a different take on it. So, anyways, let's get into it. We are Lucky Ducky 69, and we are playing in the 4th position. I'm going to start the video here. So, what do we see about this board? Well, I think the first thing to notice is that there is kind of an interesting blend of or wheat sheep options. Obviously, something like the 5, 9, 10 is quite nice. 6, 9, 3, a big dandy favorite, of course, here. And then you've also even got the 6, 9, 5. 8, 5, 10 is also an option. So it kind of feels like there's a lot of decent play here for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But us being in 4th, obviously we have to find our home. We have to find our niche here. So kind of given the dynamic here, there's some big spots still like the 8, 5, 10, which is probably not the sexiest combo, wood and sheep. But overall, I'm pretty happy about my options. And if anybody decides to kind of shift just a little bit, so for instance, okay, 6, 9, 3, I think it's a very logical pick. You do get the best wheat and you get the best ore combo and then a little touch of brick. And the port play is not too bad. You can see potentially some sheep options to make use of not only completing the ore wheat sheep, but also getting a viable port strategy too. Now for 2nd, it's a little bit more difficult. Do you value the 10 ore, or do you want to go with more of like a higher production strat with the 6, 9, 5, which is an interesting combo, right? You do kind of enjoy this wheat here on the left-hand side of the board. Or do you want to go for maybe the road builder strat where you go something like 10, 5, 8 here? I think it's one of those situations where no matter where 2nd goes, it's probably going to be playable. And I've said this for a long time. Really, Catan is more about learning to outplay the board than simply outplacing. I think too many people put so much time and energy into placements, like when the reality is, you could be given the best setup in the world, but if you don't know the structures, if you don't know the plans, if you can't trade, if you can't read the board properly, you're probably going to have a hard time against players who can. Okay, 5, 9, 10. This is a very interesting pick. Obviously saying I want the 2nd best or wheat combo, and then the brick's not too bad. There's a lot of decent wood outs here. But what it does do is by shifting the placement from the 6, 9, 5 to the 9, 5, 10, you actually open up a ton of the board. So now there's a lot of spots open here. All right. So I'm going to pause the video, and I'd encourage you to do the same thing because we are in the 4th position. 3rd goes 6, 9, 12. Obviously making claim to saying, hey, I'm going to pick up the best wheat now, and I have a lot of different options in terms of either going for the wood route or going for the ore route. Now, 4th position. What do you see? What do you do here? Now, obviously, I've already played this game. I kind of already done a little bit of analysis, but let me walk you through what I see here. I'm seeing that we have essentially 3 players that are making a claim on the ore and the wheat. So in this situation, 6, 9, 3 is most likely going to double down on development cards. 5, 9, 10, most likely going to double down on maybe some kind of hybrid or wheat sheep game when they pick up the sheep on the way back. And then the 6, 9, 12, probably the most not sure where they're going to go, what they're going to do situation quite yet, but you could certainly see them potentially going for the coordinated 9 ore and wheat, and then maybe they're playing a little bit more of that development card strategy. So my brain immediately tells me, based on the first 3 picks, that we need to find a way to play road. And given the fact that we have a monster wood pile up here with the brick, I'm really tempted by this. Now, one thing you've got to learn to do when you're doing your placements is to look at the power of what we call placing it out. So this means that you need to pick a setup and then essentially calculate what your opponents are going to take on the way back. And what you find is when you do this exercise on a consistent basis, A, you get good at it, And B, once you get good at it, then what you can do is you can have this predictive nature about how you play Catan. So kind of like in chess, if I make a move, I know with a pretty high certainty what my opponent's going to do because they need to respond ideally with their best move as well. And if they don't respond with their best move, then they're making suboptimal plays and we're in a good position. Now, one thing I realized, I really like the 8-5-4 here, and I looked at this spot and said, okay, can I make this spot work? I'm going for road, so I'm going to need the one to brick. And something I realized is that if I go 8-5-4 down, I believe one of these spots will be open. And why do I say that? Well, think about what everyone else needs. Everyone here needs sheep. Sheep and wood, essentially, because they got the wheat, the ore, and the brick as their first pick. Well, there's only kind of a couple spots that really tick that box. You have the 8-4-3, wood, sheep, 8-5-10, wood, sheep, and then you have kind of this like wood, sheep, ore combo here. So what I thought was, well, if I take the 8-5-4 and point down, I think one of these spots are going to be open. So what I can do is go 8-5-4 down, 6-3-11 left. And knowing this, with one player going on the 8-4-3, one player going on the 8-4-5, that third player can't take both of these spots, if that makes sense. So these are exercises, these are things you've got to do in your placements so that you can consistently outplay your opponents in the beginning of the game. So let's go into it here. Again, these are calculations. It's not perfect. Sometimes other players will do things that are unexpected. But as you get to the higher levels of Catan, what you'll find is there's a certain kind of meta that's understood and accepted. And the reason why I like the 8-5-4 and 6-3-11 so much here is because, well, I have access to a double wood, double brick, which means you can't block my road materials. I'll always be producing roads, which is important as a road player. I have an incredible expansion spot on either the 9-4-11 or the 6-5-11. And then I also have a lot of space to work, right? I have this ability to connect on the middle of the board. I have the 11-12 brick port, which is going to absolutely cook with the double brick situation here. So to me, it's a really sneaky and good way to play the game. And I think road's going to be the best play. So let me fast forward here, 6-3-11. And I'm just doing my final calculations here. Come on, Drew. There we go. 8-5-4 down. So again, we're trying to work with a reasonable certainty, but knowing that black needs probably the ore, he's probably going to go on some kind of combination, maybe 9-5-2 down to the 5-2 or 6-2. And then these players are most likely going to gravitate towards picking up the wood and the sheep. It's going to give us a really good opportunity here, potentially, to get some great production. Okay, 8-5-10. Great pick here for black, obviously taking advantage of the highest producing spot, and then pointing right to go to the 3-1 port. And who knows, maybe in a perfect situation, they might be able to enjoy the 9 ore on the road settle here. But, you know, that's a little bit optimistic. Now for red, again, looking to probably complete all the resources here. The 8-4-3 is fantastic. It does give him a quite complete game. He's got multiple ports to work with here. I think that's a great pick. You could even see a world potentially where it's 8-4-3 to the right. Maybe the 3-10-11 is going to be open here. And then it's going to be really up to Mr. Incognito in terms of what he does here. So let's fast forward a little bit. 8-4-3 by red. Points left. Wow. I don't hate the left point. I think 4-11 is okay. But I think I'm not quite sure about this, though. I kind of feel like potentially pointing down and just going for the doubling the 8. Maybe the wheat port could be a lot of fun here. But okay, you pick up another wheat source. It's not the biggest producing spot, but it's something. Generally speaking, when you're playing more of a, let's say, a development card game, you're not building around as much, right? You're not dropping a ton of roads. Instead, what you typically want to do is you want to get to a port kind of as quickly as you can, and then support that port with building a city. So I'm not particularly crazy about pointing left here. I think it's just better to point down. He's going to have 2 settle spots instead of 1. But here we go. All right, so now I'm trying to make a deal with Mr. Incognito saying if you go 9, 10, 2 left, I'll leave you the 3, 10, 11. And it's kind of a fun deal, right? Because he gets a guaranteed road settle, and, well, I get all the goods here, which I think is probably a little bit too good for me. I'll take 9, 4, 11. Nope. That was not the deal, brother. 9, 10, 2 to 9, 4, 11 was not the deal. You know what? I really found this player to be very strange. You'll see kind of as the game goes on. I don't know. Maybe he was having a bad day, but is what it is, you know. I mean, I think to say like I'll give you 9, 10, 2 to 9, 4, 11 is a little bit too much, but I think 9, 10, 2 to 3, 10, 11 pretty solid there. Because ideally for him, he wants to start with the sheep. But okay, he goes 9, 4, 11, points down, immediately rolls the 7 here. So we got a game, we got a board. I'm pretty happy about the situation. This was a great example when you calculate effectively. You really find some great opportunities. So 6, 5, 11, brick port, longest road. This is a fantastic setup for us. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. Okay, so he blocks the 5, which I think is actually a pretty bad block because, well, he needs brick and, you know, he doesn't have, well, he has the 3, but much better is the 9. The 9 just makes a lot of sense here. He kills the wheat production so he can get a competitive run on devs, but he goes on the 5, which frankly, like he could use that brick. So I think that's a little suboptimal, but all right, he's saying he made a mistake. All good. We move on. Yeah, I'm saying you always hit the 9 wheat there. No worries. No worries. Again, it's always interesting to see these games kind of post the moment. But okay, I think he made a little mistake there. Life goes on. And hopefully he passes his turn sooner than later. Again, you'll see this is a very strange individual, this game. Just needed the brick. Well, kind of hard to trade the brick when you're going to be blocking it, brother. All right. So as far as objectives, I'm going to turn down the... This is going to be a chatty. I'm going to turn down the volume a little bit. So as far as main objectives, when I'm playing road, I'm really looking at first securing space. That is one of the biggest assets you can have as a road player. So the first thing I'm thinking about is if I ever lose the 6, 5, 11, the ability for me to run this game effectively is diminished significantly. So I want to go for this spot first. I want to make sure I secure the center of the board. And then from there, I have a lot of options. If I want to try to build a city with some trades, I can do that. Maybe I want to run to the brick port and utilize all this doubled brick situation in the middle. Awesome. And we rolled a 3. The 3 is amazing just because we're obviously going to need that sheep to settle. And yeah, so pretty good for us. Pretty happy about that. It's nice to see some of those early rolls come in with the setup like this. We are playing without the ore. So that is one of my concerns is I don't want to fall behind. Perfect. And we got the brick here. I think there's a lot of cases where this brick is pretty tradable, specifically with Mr. Incognito. So I'm going to try to do the 1-for-1. This is a really great trade for us, and I think in a lot of cases we should be able to roll the wood pretty quickly here. By the way, wherever you're at in the world, hope you're doing amazing. Hope you're doing well. I'm so excited to be bringing you some of this new video content that's going to be coming out over the coming weeks and months. Lots of great games. We've been crushing the leaderboard. Which was super awesome. I'm very excited for that. All right, so now Rock Daddy looking brick for no block. Said I traded it. I can give you the next one. I think at this point, I don't think I'm the block quite yet. I think we have a good long-term game. But obviously, if Incognito gets any kind of significant pacing with development cars or dropping a city, it's a pretty big problem. But yeah, I think overall, him getting this settled pretty quickly is good. We get our settle. That's a beautiful, beautiful play now. Look at that. Already, we've got a monster spot here. Great production. So let's take a look at everybody's game. Let's see if we can dissect what this game should, like, ideally what should happen here. So I think it's pretty clear long term, Incognito is probably going to be playing some kind of development card city based game, or Wheat Sheep, as we might call it. I think Red is in a pretty flexible position. They have great production, all 5 resources, the second best ore that's probably never getting blocked. So they have this kind of interesting ability to go in multiple directions. But ideally, as us being the road player, we'd like to see them buy some development cards. And that way they're competing on Army. And then Black is kind of an interesting beast. I guess they could also go for devs, which lends us to having a big advantage on this board where no one can really fight us on road, if we do decide to end up connecting and working that out. So overall, I'm feeling great about this position. I think I have a clear advantage, and ultimately, I'm liking the vibe overall. They're kind of chatty. I can see there's potential deals to be had. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so we're seeing a 4-for-1 from Mr. Rock Daddy. Not sure what he's trying to do here. I think for him, he's got to get either a big city down or a big settle down. Obviously, there's not many more things he could do, but I think the 9-5-10 city is just an absolute beast. Because then, with the doubled ore, he can really kind of pivot in a lot of ways. He can build quickly. He can buy development cards. And again, hitting the 5 brick, I'm not so sure I like this block necessarily, but it's not the world's worst thing. It's kind of difficult for Black to make these blocks, but ultimately I'm pretty happy with this just because it doesn't hurt me. I'd say it hurts Red a lot more than it hurts me. Might need you to fight Red, devs here, Red. So you can kind of see the way I'm kind of positioning this a little bit is obviously I want Red to tap into the dev deck, so he's putting some pressure onto Mr. I don't know, what color would you call this? Bronze? By the way, for those who don't know, I'm actually like colorblind. Not 100% colorblind, but I struggle with a lot of colors. All right, so valuable cards. We are going to ask for 2 cards. I have no reason to do wood for brick when I produce a ton of wood and brick. But if I can get a rare resource, like I do like a wood plus an ore, wood plus a sheep, like wood plus anything but brick, I would take in most cases. Or even 2 wood, I'll definitely go for value. Brick for ore is also not bad. Like ideally I want to get Red into this game. All right, we see a road builder. Interesting, going for the 411. So something to note here, just looking at this, Red did not, I'll just keep the game going. Red didn't have to play the road builder there. I mean, unless he's concerned about me road plowing him, just hold it, right? Hold your cards. Don't feel threatened. I think that was a little bit premature. You never know. He might want to pivot a little bit, but just playing it with nothing just doesn't make sense. Okay, we're going to put some pressure on Mr. Incognito. I think he's, so far, probably got the most straightforward game. And I'm going to see if I can make a deal with him, non-steal for non-steal, knowing that he's probably got a knight. Perfect. So I think what this will allude to is he'll probably end up putting it onto the 9 wheat. Honestly, I think that's one of his better blocks here, just to stop the wheat production. But the 6 brick, he keeps hitting the brick. I'm really confused about the brick block. It's like whatever. I mean, it doesn't hurt me, but it doesn't help him. And I think, from his perspective, again, just putting pressure on the 9. He's got so much wheat here that he needs to stop any development cards. He needs to stop the coordinated 9s from Black. So I'm just really puzzled by this move. But yeah, and I'm saying this in the moment too. Surprised you didn't hit the 9 wheat. You control the wheat there. Which is true. He actually has full control on the wheat with me, with the 6 and the 11s, if he blocks the 9. Interesting. Okay, so he's saying that he's concerned about the brick port, and for good reason. It's obviously a good setup, but I think the one thing you need to be conscious of when you play in a game is, first, you need to secure your win condition. So if I'm going for army, I have to make sure that the players who are going to be dipping into the dev deck don't have any kind of pacing or any kind of advantage. And the problem is when he blocks the brick, he's leaving the wheat open, he's leaving the ore and the sheep open, and that's probably not great for his game because he's making it more difficult for him to fight. Great trade for us here. Be able to get 2 cards. I would usually accept that. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, okay, okay. I would do. Uh-oh. Go to my Amazon. Hopefully I did dox myself there. Okay, I'll do 2 cards here. I think this is generally reasonable. And I think this is an interesting situation where I'm making a deal with Red to say, hey, I got you. I'm going to help you out. I think it's a good settle. I want him to get into the game. I want him to fight devs here. And plus the ore's good, right? We don't produce ore, and it's going to be part of our city build. So ultimately, I'm pretty happy about that. Boom. All right, we need good rolls. Where are the good rolls? Wood for wheat. I think this would be something potentially Incognito would take, but right now there's so much wood on the board that maybe the value is kind of dissipated. So yeah, I like the way this position scales though. I think after Brickport, with this ore in our hand, we can start to really double down on building that city. And surprisingly, it's not that difficult if you think about it, right? So like, let's say we settle Brickport. All we need is a 5 and a 6 to roll or 2 6s to roll, and we have a city after the 11 rolls. So I think a lot of people discount, going oreless, but when you have this much production, you can do it. You can be fine with it. All right. The one roll we don't want to see is the. We definitely don't want to be seeing the 9. The 9's that one roll that kind of pushes us back in terms of progress. So as long as we can see the 5 rolling over the 9, I'm happy. 11s are great for us. The double wheat comes in super clutch. And I think what we'll have to end up doing here is to get the settle. I don't recall exactly what happened, but I could see myself doing a 2 for 1, maybe a road for a wheat, or maybe brick sheep for a wheat. I could see us doing something like that for sure. Okay, Rock Daddy's looking okay. So it's interesting. I can see, the way people communicate in game tells me a lot about their skill level. So for Rock Daddy to be offering insurance in a ranked game, which by the way, rarely works because a lot of players don't understand insurance, but it's interesting. I think tells me he's plugged into the competitive scene when I see some of these kind of new age tactics in a ranked game. And I think if I recall, I think this was like a 1750 game or something, pretty close to top 100, maybe top 50, 150. Now, the one setup that I'm least favored about is probably black, because I don't see black's advantage here. They do have the coordinated 9s, but I can see once red and bronze kind of get their setup running, I can see the robber bouncing between the 9s. So in a sense, black almost never walks away from that situation. They're probably going to be blocked for most of this game, whether it's on the 6, the 9, or the other 9. So that's one thing you want to be conscious of, for instance, is blocking spots. And you don't want to put yourself in a situation where once the robber becomes active, you're expecting to see it majority of the game. All right, but there's the 9. Not great. I'm going to see if I can strike a deal, a road for a wheat. See if I can strike a deal here. The sheep has a little bit of value, but I guess maybe if he can pop, and I know Mr. Bronze is trying to build a city. And if all else fails, you know what the nice thing about this is? We can drop roads. We can drop 2 roads, go places, do things. That's not a bad deal for us. Especially even the 8-10. Not too bad. Doubles the 5, picks up the 10 ore. I'm seeing if I can do a no block here. Getting a little impatient. 3 for 1 is really good. Looks like Mr. Rock Daddy's trying to figure this out. All right, let's see if we can go back to the trade. That's a nice thing about a good road game. Okay, so now I'm going to go for the 3-1. Actually, thinking about it, 8-10 is pretty good. But the challenge is that we do have all this additional wood. So potentially by getting the 3-1, our flexibility in the wood goes up. And you never know, with the 11 being tripled, that could also be a free card. So I'm quite happy about that. All right, so now Mr. Incognito, Mr. Bronze, or whatever the hell you want to call him, he's doing pretty damn well. He's got 2 settles down in addition to his starting settles. He's got a really decent ore wheat sheep, all 5 resources, the side-by-side connect play, and he's got pacing on army with the down dev. That's pretty scary. Obviously, we're doing well here with our road game. And again, I think he's making it very difficult for himself if he's not blocking the 9. All right, so hopefully we can get 11 sooner than later. All right, big turn here for black. Big turn. Potentially looking to build a city. I would definitely do this trade. This gives me the settle. Don't like giving away the ore, but I think to get an actionable hand here is actually pretty good. Okay, so he pops. See, guys, this is impatience. Black needs a city. I think if black doesn't get a city, he falls behind. And once he starts popping and he starts throwing away that ore at this stage of the game, like right here, I think, oh man, I think that was a mistake. I think the double pop really puts him behind. His production is not strong enough. And again, remember what I said, he's going to be on most of these blocks, whether it's on the 9 ore, the 6 brick, the 9 wheat. Perfect. Okay, well now we have the most disgusting hand of all time. Though luckily this is a hand that I feel like if I'm going to 7 out, I can live with that just because I can throw away most of the wood and I only need the 1 sheep to settle. So it's not too bad of a situation, right? I throw out maybe 2 wood and 2 sheep and then hold wood, sheep, 2 ore. So I'm trying to like press on red, be like, hey man, you know, I helped you out earlier with the brick. I didn't have to do that, but I did help you out. Okay, he doesn't want to budge. You know, this is the one thing, sometimes be willing to put stipulations on trades like, hey, I'm going to do the card for you now, but maybe, you know, you can help me out. Perfect. So we strike a deal here just to let it know I can give wheat on my 11. Deal. Wow, so easy, right? So don't give up so easily. And frankly too, like once the 11 rolls, we're gonna have a lot of we're gonna have 2 wheat, so we can always give 1 away and then we can settle on the brick port. So ultimately that worked out pretty well. We ended up buying a dev, which okay, we would like something other than a knight, but we did clear our hand, and ultimately I'm pretty happy about that. There we go. All right, so now the 9 is being blocked. Incognito is doing the right things. I like to see it. I wonder if he'll default to maybe one of his core blocks on the brick. Yep. So something to note here. Again, I'm not really at a point where my setup's that scary. I actually think this is a mistake. He's made this mistake multiple times. I'm not even joking here. I really think he should be blocking the 10. Because or even the 4, right? Slow down your competitors. It's not so clear that he's got army quite yet. Okay, he has a massive lead, but you're also dealing with black that has 2 down devs. And for him to block the brick, it's just like you're making your life way harder than it needs to be. So these are just mistakes, you know, like I understand you're trying to be diplomatic, but it's going to lose you a lot more games than you should. All right, we're rolling wood like a beast. Be nice if we actually had the wood port, but we're not that good, apparently. Okay. Interesting 3 for 1. Seems a little bit premature from Mr. Rock Daddy. Don't think he had the port quite yet, but okay, whatever. Okay, now black. Interesting decision here. Again, kind of going back to what I was discussing earlier. I think maybe the 6 wheat. I think you want to slow him down. Perfect. Yeah. And it's just at that point where if he buys a... Here we go. Yeah, we're going to keep the pressure on. I think it's clearly him. Perfect. We get a wheat. That's exactly what we needed here. I don't know if there's actually brick out there. But I'm in a position where holding that wheat, I'm pretty happy. The 5 or 6, perfect. And remember, we can give away the wheat to Rock Daddy, which was part of the deal. Oh my God, look at this hand. Went from joke broke to rich and famous, baby. Now, what's interesting, right? Remember, he 3 for 1'd the wood for wheat, and now I'm giving him another wheat. Imagine if he just saved his hand. Maybe he 3 for 1's for the ore instead. because maybe the 10 gave him 2 ore. I think that was a little impatient from Rock Daddy and might cost him when he makes those plays. Okay, so I got to trade my wheat here. If he doesn't want to do the trade, I am more than happy with that because it really puts us in a great spot in terms of building the city. Because we're going to need 1 wheat to settle, and then we're going to get the 2 wheat in our hand for the city. I should have been smart and realized I settled on the 11. So after all that, we got the deal with him, by the way. He'd even want the trade. He did even want the trade. So that's the way it goes sometimes. Okay, so now Black's playing a knight. The question is, where does he put it? You know, yeah, I think this is not a bad decision. I think soloing the 6 makes a lot of sense here because I think for Black, he's got to take army. And his biggest competitor at this point in time right now is Incognito. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. So fun hand here. So what we can actually do here is we can settle. We can double settle, I believe. But it is kind of expensive. So let's see what I end up doing here. Actually, don't we have... We almost have Settle City. Almost have Settle City. So I could do Brick for Wheat here, potentially. And that actually gives me Settle City, if I'm not mistaken. So this is actually a missed opportunity. So if we look at this hand here, Brick for Wheat, I can settle on the 3-1. And then port the wheat and the wood for a city. So I think that was a missed opportunity from me. But this does actually give me the opportunity to double settle. And I think both are good. Otherwise, I always have the settle and then port the wheat. I just ideally don't want to waste my wheat if I don't have to. Yeah, the 3 cards for 1 is ridiculous. Also, too, I missed this trade. Brick for wheat. Brick for wheat. And that's the city. Interesting. So I actually didn't realize I missed this, but I made a mistake here. I think if I thought about this a little bit deeper, I probably could have finessed a Settle City, but I missed it. And sometimes you have to be honest about your play, and I think this was one. Okay, so whatever the case is, double settle's good. It's just now we're in a situation where I think we jump ahead pretty quickly, and we don't have our city. So we're kind of in a weird, like, landlocked position, right? We can't do anything else until we drop a city. But I like our chances. I think we're doing nicely here. He said I was right to fear the man. Yeah, Blue's a business once they drop that city. Yeah, I think I made that mistake. I think I should have saw the city play. But, okay, we're doing amazing. Our production's amazing. Our flexibility has just gone through the roof. And now the board is turning on me pretty quickly. So, yeah, these are mistakes you got to realize in your own game. Nonetheless, I think we're just in a really good spot now. I like the way we close out this game. And having that down dev is it's really good for us, actually. Yeah, it's cool sometimes going back and watch your games. You don't realize, you're so caught in the moment that maybe you don't even realize your own mistakes. The reason I'm willing to do this trade, by the way, is I think it gives red action, but also the 2 brick is the ore anyways. So typically I wouldn't trade away ore, but if I can get an ore plus back, it makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, Red's doing well. Red's doing well. The city is a great play for him. It's going to give him a lot to work with. And I think, honestly, from Bronze's point of view, he's been spending all this time trying to buy devs and road settling. If he just built a city on like the 693, he'd be absolutely cooking right now. So, yeah, I think sometimes some players dip into the dev deck a little bit too early. Okay, so Mr. Incognito. Yeah, I do have a 12 ore, thinking about it. Don't forget my 12 ore. That's okay. So I'm trying to keep it light and playful a little bit. I don't want this to become an argumentative fest. I'd rather kind of just keep it in more of a playful tone. I think a lot of players kind of get like a little bit aggressive when they feel like they're being attacked. But we're just acknowledging we have a good position here. I'd rather have a win condition right now, but that's just me. I think Red's doing great here. I think their production's fantastic. Perfect. Well, unlikely we're going to get a trade here, but I think at this point we're going to be porting for all the things we need. Oh my god, the 12! Oh my goodness. What a roll. What a roll. Jeez. Well, there you go. The 12. And I started to think at this point that maybe Red knows me a little bit. Just the way, like, showing all the signs that they know the lingo of the game. They know a lot of these kind of like high level tactics. And then I say the 12, similar to when I say the 2. So it's funny, you can get some of those cold reads against certain players. But now we're at a fantastic spot. 11's a city, 5, 6 is a city, 8's a city. So we've got a lot of roles that kind of get us in the game. Also, with the amount of wheat on this board, it's a pretty good shot that we might be able to steal either the wheat, or if we roll a wood, we can steal the other wood, as an example. So my gut's telling me the pretty good chance that we'll find a city this orbit, as long as we don't get robbed or stolen from here. All right, so Red is cooking, man. He's at 6 points. Oh, massive. Massive 7 here. We're going to toss all the wood. I think it's actually pretty fair in this situation to hit the 5. I guess, yeah, perfect. Okay, that's exactly what we needed. If we can roll 11 here, we're absolutely bonkers. So I'm looking for a wheat here. And I believe Incognito is the only person wheat. Now, in most cases, I would probably hit the 9 here. But I think it's critical that I go for the wheat. And that means I have multiple rolls that give me the city. And I can't afford to keep losing cards. So it's kind of a tough call. But if he doesn't want to make a deal, I'm going to go for it. I didn't grab it. Of course, the 9 rolls. Now, let's talk about this really quick. I can tell you Incognito is not happy about this decision. You will see very shortly. It's a tough call, right? Red has 0 cards in his hand. I do still think there's a good chance that Incognito gets Army, which puts him on 6 as well, and clearly his production is not nearly as good as Red's. But I can't afford to waste time. If I can get a city that turn with the right steal and the right roll, it's important I get this aura in my hand so I can focus on building my roads. So I think it's a short-term play that I think has a lot of long-term value, but we'll see how he takes all this. I think you'll see a player that loses his mind a bit, and unfortunately, at least it's the downfall of his game. So let's see. And again, look, I want to be clear. If Red had cards in his hand, I would hit Red, right? But hitting Black here really doesn't help the situation. Obviously, blocking 9 is big. But I just have to make the play that gives me the most momentum, especially me being at 5 and without a city. So as you can see now, Incognito saying my goal is to ruin Blue's game. I've been told, I showed this screenshot to another player. Apparently they've had issues with this player as well. He's got some serious attitude problems. I don't know, man. If you're watching this, I did not like your attitude here. And, yeah, I guess we'll see, man. Wasn't cool. But what am I supposed to do, You try our best to play the best game that we can. And not everyone's going to like it. All right, so the game goes on. The show goes on here. So far, we're heating up. We're doing great. I actually misspoke there. I thought both of them had 0 cards. One of them had 0 cards. Obviously, I didn't want to steal from Black. I want Black to stay in the game. Big block. Big block. Well, the plus side of this is that now Red has a bunch of That's a great trade for us. We'll take that. It's also a dev for red. But I think guaranteeing the city is actually quite nice here. I'm also not too concerned. I mean, maybe giving away the sheep's a little bit too nice because we have so many rolls, like 5, 6, 11. Double wood rolls are pretty good. But we just have to get the city down. We can't afford to waste any more time at this point. Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes things happen, right? You block somebody and try to go for a card, and then he gets double rolls, right? The 9. He's not even actionable, though. He doesn't have a wheat port. He's got 6 wheat in his hand. Okay, we need a good roll here, folks. Okay, well, now the 8's a city. 5's a city, 6's a city, 11's a city. There's also a potential play here where maybe we can make a trade with red. Again, we don't want to give red too much, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. A lot of wheat. I'm going over the wheat, or as Colonist likes to call it, grain. All right. There we go. City. Honestly, we could go for a trade here. I'm going to try to make this a little bit cheaper. It's not a bad trade for red. It gets them moving around the board. Nah. We're just going to go for this. City's great. I'm pretty happy about this. We're going to hold our hand as well. I think one of the things I can see here is if I drop the road, well, now the sheep becomes vulnerable, and I want the sheep. So I'm going to most likely just pass here knowing my feelings about this current hand. City incoming. Yep. All right, the rolls are here. Now, I think one thing to note, at what point should I connect, right? Is it at the point to where I should be worried about anyone cutting roads? And the only player that would do that is Incognito. Well, what's funny is it didn't matter because he just felt so compelled at this point to try to spite my game as much as he could. He wasn't buying devs. He wasn't trying to enhance his game. He just said, I'm going to go full spite on this guy. And that's up to him, right? Completely up to him. It's like I said, his biggest priority right now is to make sure that I don't win. And that's not really a winning strategy for him. I would say, guys, if you deal with these kind of players who get super spiteful, try your best to just have a good attitude about it, right? Like, I think creating an argumentative mess between you and other players is like one of the worst things you can do. Well, now Incognito's pissing the other direction. And I think one of the things here is he's looking at the fact that maybe that's his competition if he wants to start buying devs. So now he's going to go for army. So red is, sorry. Everyone's saying sorry. We can't make this man happy. All right, we have a settle in our hand. So I think in this situation, we have the settle. I think we just take it. Our rolls are really good. We pick up another brick hex. We double the 4. We double the 8. I need to fix the screen here. All right, Dandy, fix the screen. There you go. Red was being cool here. It's fine. We still have a great game. Obviously, with this city, with this production, pretty amazing. I think one of the challenges now is because we are pretty much in a 3v1 situation with Incognito just like making our life miserable. I can definitely see the case that, I can see him feeding his cards. Whatever cards he gets, he's probably going to give to other players. So we'll see. We'll see how this works out. Big block and big roll. Red is cooking here. I mean, another city would be massive. And one thing that's concerning me ever so slightly is potentially Incognito trying to make some wild play of connecting here. which actually does kind of hurt me a bit, right? Like if he makes the connect, that is technically 8 roads, and he just starts building, and he can go pretty far, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He can go to 12, which is kind of annoying. So I am seeing this possibility if I can take the disconnect here. He's definitely not as strong. So now, as you can see, because of a single block when red had no cards, he's trying to offer the game. He's trying to throw the game here. And I threw the game, apparently. Remember, I threw the game, even though I went for a winning play for me. It's the way it goes. I threw that game. Is what it is. Is what it is. It's kind of the nice thing is this is all just like post-mortem, you know. Oh, now red's getting the block here. Massive. All right, so what I'm saying is here, I'm just going to go for the connect here. I just don't want him to get in my way of taking road. So now really the only person who could probably take road is black. But black doesn't really have the production. So maybe he might end up feeding. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's just going for the connect. All right, so we're on 9 points. We're looking good. We got a lot of great rolls here. Obviously, the 5 and 6 are absolutely monster rolls. And damn, I'll give you that trade. Okay, I've been embargoed now, so that doesn't matter. Okay, so now he's making trades with red, which is pretty unfortunate, right? Like he's more or less just giving red winning trades. Like 2 wheat there is obnoxious. And then he's going to feed, I guess, all his wood and wheat to black. It sucks, man. It sucks when people play this way. And I don't want to put players on blast, but at the same time, like this behavior has to be stomped, right? I did 1 block on this guy, and he's just losing it. And I was never mean to him. I was never disrespectful at all. But yeah, just unfortunate. And overall, red's been a pretty good sport here, but obviously he knows, like, he knows that trade was out of spite, right? Like, black's just giving up. Incognito just giving up. So, hey, we still have a chance here. We're doing okay. We've got technically a pop in our hand. The one thing is we are at a settles, though. So we either need to pull a VP or we need to build a city here. But we do have rolls. 11 is winning. Is that the only winning roll? 12 is not winning, but 12 is a nice pop. Okay, so we only have 1 winning roll, which is the 11. Okay. I'm trying to like jokingly just be kind of like overly nice to him because he's just being so obnoxious. You tabletop from the get-go, you were so annoying. Damn. Damn. I mean, I offered him some good deals. I offered some good trades. So, remember, stay in this game. Don't lose your cool. All right, so now black, he took all my brick. And now he's going for the road play. Which you better believe he's going to get fed. Because Incognito is not actually playing for his own game anymore. Which, by the way, he has a decent game. Like, if he gets army, he's doing okay here, right? All right, so we're going to be cool about this. Like, I'm going to hold on to the wood as well. All right, we're getting close again. Let's see if we can, win the game. Unfortunately, though, I think what's going to end up happening is road is going to end up going back to black here, and now my life becomes difficult. And I kind of feel like red's probably on 8 or 9 points. So now it's like the 10's going to be a winning roll potentially. It's all bad. It's all bad. Not to mention maybe another mono could be on the books. Let's see if the baby rager is going to keep feeding. We're not sure yet. By the way, anyone, I hope you see if you have players in the game that act this way. Hope you know it's not just you, right? This happens to everybody. I don't care what level you're playing at, how good you are at the game. Sometimes you just have to deal with players like that. Yeah, even Red acknowledges, are you trying to throw? I need to build up. It's like, no, that's not true. All right, so we have the win in our hand. So now they have to feed Black Road. Kind of feels a little bit like if you think about it, right? Incognito just gets a little bit more honed in. Let's say he pulls a knight, he pulls a VP. All of a sudden, he could be at 8 points, right? Like his game's not done. So I don't know, man. I think he just kept his cool there. I think he's doing much better. I'm saying it's guaranteed I lose it, which I think is true. I think Black is definitely going to find a road here. He's still going, well, I am losing road, right? So he drops the 2 roads, and then I have to essentially drop multiple roads here. Damn. Homie doesn't even care. Homie doesn't even care. Bro, it's okay. He's gonna get his road mats. Don't worry. We don't have the win. Interesting. So he ports the brick. That might be a mistake there. I think he needed to be a little bit more patient. Oof. And such a painful roll. I might even consider taking the sheep, but oh well. Oh well. So here we go. The fight goes on, the fight continues. The funny thing is Black could actually fight army here, right? The thing is, okay, fair enough, he needs to take road, but it's just weird how he got so close to army and then he just gave it up. Which is kind of silly because, now I just have to fight road back against Black. So he had an opportunity, I think, to really fight this game. And, yeah, just getting stuck as the road player here is kind of silly for him. So the thing here is if he doesn't drop another road, we have 2 roads in hand. Road. We don't have the pop, though, do we? Yeah, I can't win. Unless I get a roll and I take army, I can't win. So now Incognito is just getting everything he has. These trades don't make sense. He's just making sure that I don't win. Which is awesome. So you can see, right? This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm dealing with. Oh, damn, he's close. All right. Yeah. Do your thing. Blah, blah, blah. And that would have probably been game right there. All right. So interesting note here. One thing I realized, we actually have a chance. We actually have a chance. So if you look at this hand, we can take road back. And the way we do that, it's a very sneaky way. But what we can do is we can build around the desert. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so now our road is connected like this. And we do lose 3 rows technically. And funny enough, with that, we can actually pop as well. Yeah. Incognito saying we bought time. But it just means you didn't win the game. Ah, all right. So we tried. That was going to be the pull for the win there. Okay, whatever. We empty our hand. And now the Yop's pretty good for us. Well, I didn't have the win. Obviously, we had good rolls there. But very likely now, red just wins. So, very likely, right? I mean, this hand's just a monster hand. And it red. Now he's probably on 9 with 10 cards and a down dev. It wasn't lucky rolls. I mean, you just had somebody that decided to absolutely... and he knew it was me this whole time. Really nice playing with you. GG. Extend the game. I guess comments at home. Was Incognito out of line here? Or, like, am I just mistaken? I think I made a reasonable play. All of that was over one rob, right? All of it was over one rob. I robbed him one time on the 9, and he just lost it. He could not handle me robbing him when red had no cards. And yeah, all of that over one rob. Can you believe it? I don't know, when you have somebody that's literally feeding the game in your favor and just feeding another player to death. I don't know, man. I guess GG, but yeah, I mean, red should enjoy the victory. You know, I just wish for him it was a little bit of a sweeter victory than just having somebody melt down and throw their own game. It sucks. It sucks for me. It probably sucks for red because it's not really like that great of a victory when you have somebody do something like that. But at the end of the day, GG, man. Red played it well. At the end of the day, player who I think just played super solid. Red played it great. He had a great setup, great production. He got great rolls, and he kept his cool. You know, he deserves it. So let's go back to the board here. Let's talk about it. Overall, fun game. Obviously, we had a good time. I try to keep in good spirits. And look, we're not going to have one player ruin our day. We've played mini games of Catan. Sometimes you have to deal with these players who can't control their emotions. And all of a sudden, the game, you know, takes a sour left turn. So we're going to keep going. I've got some new games coming out for the season. Man, I've been playing some awesome Catan. I am so excited to show you what's been going on. I am very high in the leaderboard. We're going to number 1 this season, by the way. It's not even a question. We're going to number 1. That's my promise to you. And I'm thrilled. Just expect a lot of this video content to come out here shortly. Overall, I love our setup. I love how we predicted the placements, all that good stuff. I want you to have an amazing rest of your week. I just appreciate you being here, showing your support, and that's all I got to say. You stay great, Danny Crew. Much love. You get out of here. Go have some fun. All right, peace, guys.